Hello, I've decided to create this video to introduce anyone who is interested but unfamiliar with the wonderful world of LEGO MOCs and how you can get started. It may seem a little daunting, but you will soon discover that it is actually a very accessible, straightforward and enjoyable experience. MOC is an acronym for my own creation, and it has developed into an amazing community of user-created content. The first step in deciding whether LEGO MOCs are something you'll be interested in is to visit the biggest resource, Rebrickable.com. When you visit the site, you will be able to search for the type of LEGO themes you are interested in. From Marvel, DC and Ninjago to cars, planes, monsters and other random builds created just for the fun of it. Some of these are just truly incredible and could easily be used as set pieces in a home. Every genre you can think of is available, and you can get completely lost in the variety and scope of ideas and creations. There are even alternate builds that utilize the parts of original LEGO sets that you may already have purchased. So to start off and give you an idea of what's available, let's look at a couple of examples. This is a really beautiful build of Howl's Moving Castle from Studio Ghibli and created by Martin LEGO Design. The photo shows different angles. Really lovely attention to detail. Like the addition of the scarecrow, and even the technique used for the smoke. Simple yet very effective. It's a really delightful piece. And if you're into vehicles, for example, this is a pretty cool build. Defender Ute, designed by Groll. Great colour, styling, looks like a tough unit and strong enough to play with. Note that some of these models are designed to just be displayed, so unlike many official sets, they are not always designed to be played with, but instead used as a feature piece. For example, this huge Star Destroyer, the ISD Monarch, designed by One Case. This is a spectacular build, with so much detail, incredible techniques. I imagine there to be some fairly fragile elements in this, and clearly not a build to be played with, but rather admired. As you can see, there's three completely different yet incredible examples of what is available. So for all the models that I've shown you, you can see that on the right of the screen you have the instruction options. The Defender, for example, is free. So these instructions you can simply download and access immediately. Other builders do charge $12 for Howl's. And as you can see, the Star Destroyer instructions are $25. More than reasonable when you consider the Monarch has over 11,000 pieces. This would cost thousands to build, and this is definitely one that's on my bucket list. So let's take Howl's Moving Castle as an example. You will see that under the main photos, there are some tabs. Details. Here the creator adds information about the build, some technical details, notes, things to consider, and possibly some additional photos or videos. Under comments, in this section, members are able to comment on the build, and this can be a very useful place to look before you decide to build it. It can contain feedback on the build, such as alternate parts, inconsistencies with instructions, etc. that they have experienced. So it may even include some possible alternate solutions. The builder may even offer some additional feedback to the comments made, so be sure to check this out. Inventory. This tab lists every part used in the build, so you can see here how it consists of 1,245 pieces. Note that the unique part count is 273, but there are more than one of most of these parts used, so it totals to 1,245 overall pieces. I'll discuss this more later. Buy parts. This tab gives you the option to actually purchase all of your inventory for this build. However, I prefer to use a separate site for this, so I will elaborate on it later. Photos. This is another good resource, as often members who have constructed the build will post their own photos. This is generally a good sign that the inventory instructions are accurate and will result in a successful build. And as mentioned on the right, you'll usually see the options for obtaining these instructions for the build. I recommend you sign up, as not only does it link to your inventory, but you'll also have the option to follow your favorite creators like MOCs, which will save them for easy access later. So here you'll see the ones that I've saved or have built or plan to build at some stage. As you can see, I'm trying to keep to a theme, in this case Star Wars, as I have a huge passion for LEGO Star Wars. If I opened myself up to other themes, I would simply create a rabbit hole I could never crawl out of. Although I might sneak in the odd extra build. I'll select House Moving Castle, and here I can follow the creator or like the MOC. And now if I go back to my liked MOCs, it'll show up here. So let's start with your first MOC. What are the steps when you finally decide on a MOC that you want to build? As mentioned earlier, make sure that you create an account with Rebrickable. Now in this case, as you can see, I've liked this build of Hoth, Leia and Han, so I'll use that as an example from my liked MOCs. I have not yet built this, and I already have a few of Midor's gorgeous figures. They are fairly simple with little facial features, yet they reflect the characters so well you instantly recognize them. I love this look and have been meaning to build this for a while. So as I said earlier, take a look at the tabs below the main photo. By this I mean make sure to look at the user comments and photos, if there are any, to ensure there have been no issues with the build. It is always reassuring to know others have already built it successfully. I always take a quick browse at the inventory as well, just out of curiosity. The next step is to buy the instructions. So if I log out here, you can see here with the instructions, it gives you a sample of the instructions, just a couple of photos from the instruction booklet. And here you'll see that they are $4 to purchase. So if I log back in, you will see here that I've previously purchased these, and it provides a link to the PDF of the instructions. And here is an example of those instructions, one for Leia and one for Han Solo. And you can see here they're beautifully done, very clear, concise and easy to follow. So the next step is to start looking at the inventory, basically all of the parts that you will need to build the MOC. This tab will display all of the items used in the build, and at the top that you'll see two options: add parts to Brickowl wishlist, add parts to Bricklink wanted list. So this is where it is important to show you the website where your inventory and purchasing will be managed. In this video I will demonstrate Bricklink, as it is my preferred site. There is nothing wrong with Brickowl, but I've just been using Bricklink for so long now, I'm just more familiar with it. Bricklink.com. This site began as a personal website in 2000 as a way to connect like-minded adult LEGO fans around the world. It grew to become the largest fan-run marketplace of LEGO parts, sets and minifigures. It was so successful in fact that in 2019, the site was acquired by LEGO. It comprises of more than 10,000 stores from 70 countries and is the go-to website for finding new and second-hand LEGO parts and sets. I recommend you create an account with Bricklink. Once you've created an account, you will have access to all of the wonderful tools. For now, I'll just touch on the wanted list. This is an important part that links to Rebrickable and allows you to build and manage your inventory. Here you can see previous lists that I've created. Some are auto-generated based on my MOC requirements. There are also lists that can be created manually. Do note that many of the stores you buy from can make honest mistakes, especially when you are ordering dozens of items. It is difficult to ask a store to send a single part due to a miscount or incorrect piece, especially if it's from overseas. So as a result, I've created wanted lists to cover these discrepancies. So adding parts via Rebrickable. So now you know what MOC you would like to build, and it's time to create your inventory so you know what parts to order. Make sure you have a membership to both websites so you can easily link them. Go to the Inventories tab and select Add Parts to Bricklink Wanted List. or Brickout if you have an account there. A window will then pop up prompting you to log in, or it'll just directly advance to the wanted list upload if you're already logged in. In this window you can choose Add the parts to an existing wanted list. Here it is called Main, which is the default wanted list, or you can conveniently create a new list and the parts will be added there. This is great if you want to keep your MOC inventories and orders separate and keep them clearly labelled. I tend to do this as it makes managing the builds so much easier. So you can see here 155 lots added successfully. So after clicking Add Parts, when you now go to your Bricklink account and refresh your wanted page, you will now see the new list that Rebrickable has created. Wonderful! It does help to go through this list and just run your eye over it. Make sure to check the unique lots at a minimum as a quick reference. So here you can see 155 items added, and there are 155 parts in the inventory, so it's a good start. So now it is time to order. This can take a little bit of strategy to ensure that you get the best price for your MOC. So if we click on the inventory, to order all of these parts you simply click Buy All. This now takes you to all the stores that have these parts. And as you can see, you get an option to select local stores or search globally. I found with larger builds, I've had to search globally. It can be worth it when ordering a big batch of parts, as shipping will be an additional cost to factor in. There is an auto function, and this is generally quite effective. It will try to find the best deal for you, but do note that it does not factor in shipping. I do not think I've ever had a build where a single store has had all of the parts, so it is important to note that some stores do have a minimum order purchase amount. So let's try a couple of things here. If I simply select the first store that actually seems to have all of the parts, you would think, well, let's just go for that. However, if we click on it, you will see that the price for this is $314.16 from Portugal, not including freight. It seems pretty expensive for this build. So let's go back and let's try auto select. Now you'll notice that there is an option that pops up here. Select stores when item price is lower than minimum buy. I generally keep this selected as there have been times when only a single store has had one final item that I needed and it was below their minimum order spend. I was therefore able to contact the store and negotiate with them, and it was the only option I had to get that last piece, so this can be useful. Auto select will obviously try to avoid this, so it doesn't hurt to keep it selected. So now you can see with this result, Bricklink has broken the order up into two lots, and the total comes to just $71. It's a huge difference, much cheaper. Even including shipping from two separate stores, it'll still be much cheaper than the first option. However, one of the reasons for this large discrepancy could be the condition of parts. So if you go back to your wanted list, you will notice here the condition as default will select any. This means that when it looks for these parts, it'll look for either new or used. This is an option with Bricklink as there is a huge second-hand LEGO market. I've often found the condition of used bricks to be quite good, and if not, there is usually a note from the store to indicate any defects, discoloration, or significant wear. So if you have a specific preference, you can specify this in your wanted list. You can see here it is very quick and easy to change the condition for each of the parts. But I prefer to keep it on any because there's only been about 3 cases for me where I've had to reorder a used part as I was not happy with its colour or condition. So going back to this order, I now want to make sure that I've got the best deal. So now I want to look at what other options I have. I found that if I try and source locally, this usually results in lower freight costs and faster delivery. In addition, I can assure you that there will occasionally be issues with your delivery, such as missing, incorrect, or damaged pieces. As a lot of these stores are small businesses, I try to be as fair as possible, and asking for a missing part to be sent locally is much less of a burden on the store. Anyway, now having chosen Australia, you'll see that it chooses just the local stores. So as you can see now, it's chosen 4 stores instead of 2, and the price is just a few dollars more expensive. However, because it is local freight, overall it will be a cheaper option and quite a reasonable price for this lovely build. Note that if there is a part that Bricklink simply can't find, it will show up in this table below. But just to be sure, do double check that the unique lots and the item count do match that of the inventory on Rebrickable. So if we look here, 155 unique parts with a total of 554. And this matches here, 155 unique parts, 554 overall. So that just gives you the peace of mind that all the parts have been accounted for within these 4 carts. So I'm going to create these 4 carts. Once they're created, if you go up to here, it'll refresh and show you that these 4 carts have been created. Do note this does not 100% guarantee that all the parts will be available, as once you check out, I have had instances where the store has contacted me and apologized that they are in fact out of stock of a certain part. It's pretty unfortunate, but that is why I have created my own parts missing wanted list. I know it's frustrating, but some of these are small stores and can make mistakes. It's part of the challenge in managing your own inventory when the parts come in. So basically, I'm going to go through and I'm going to purchase all these parts. Now what you will notice is some of these do include shipping and handling and some don't. So you can see here under S&H, TBD, TBD. So basically what happens there is if I go into view cart, proceed to checkout. So what happens here, if I agree and continue, then I'm basically committing to this purchase. And what will happen is that the store will send me an invoice that includes their own calculations for shipping and handling, and they'll give me a total. So I can agree and continue, request for invoice. So if I place the order now, Aussie Tony's shop will follow up with an invoice to include the shipping and handling. So that's basically taken care of. So if I go to my other carts, okay, you can see that that one's disappeared. I can view this cart, proceed to checkout. Because this does include shipping and handling, I can simply agree and continue. PayPal is my preferred. Choose a shipping method. Happy with that. Check out PayPal. Confirm payment. And that is a complete transaction. So it is as simple as that. So I'll just go through and do the same for the others. So now once that's all done, if we go to our orders page, you will see all the orders that I've just created. Now generally this will show you all of the orders up to a certain amount of days. It does purge them after a certain amount of time. So because I haven't made any orders for a while, these are the only ones that are showing up. So this gives you an update on the order. So what happens now is the seller generally will update this order and let you know when the goods are ready, when they've been dispatched, and also provide you with a tracking number. Once that's done, then feedback options are available. They can provide feedback, you can provide feedback as well. So now it's just a question of waiting for the parts, waiting for a couple of invoices to complete those orders, and we're done. Basically, I am now expecting all of these parts to be delivered so I can build this set. So something I'm really looking forward to. Okay, so I have an update on those 2 orders that I was waiting for an invoice. So basically, during the course of yesterday, after I'd made the order, I did receive an email from both of those stores to say that my invoice was ready. Now, all that means is, as you can see here, my shopping cart page or orders page has been updated with 2 notifications. And basically it's as simple as coming back to this page once you've received the notification and hitting pay. And once that's done, it takes you immediately to your PayPal account. or whatever other payment option you choose. Confirm with PayPal, and it's as simple as that. Go back to view all orders, and as you can see now, the paid column for that order is green, so I'll just go ahead and pay for the last one. And that is done. So now all of the parts have been paid for this particular build, and on this page you'll see that the status is all paid. So what will happen now is, as these stores are getting the parts ready, they'll update you on whether they've been dispatched. So what I'll do at a later stage is, once the parts come in, I will do a follow-up video and show you an update of this page, and I'll also show you the types of packaging and the condition the parts come in, so you know what to expect, and I'll also show you how I manage them. Finally, I will do a time lapse of the build and provide my final thoughts. So I hope this video has been helpful and you enjoyed discovering this wonderful world of MOCs. I look forward to showing you more once the parts come in. Thanks for watching.